The following is a presentation of the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. Broadcasting from the campus of Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, the Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show is on the air. Your chance to hear from Liberty Women's Basketball head coach Carey Green comes your way on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. The Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show is presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Start banking with Freedom First today. The Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show is also brought to you by Carter Bank, Life Lived Full, Earthright Mid-Atlantic, your trusted solar and energy efficiency experts. By Foster Fuels, providing reliable service for 100 years. Freedom Heating and Air, serving those who serve us. Carl Miller Realty, caring, competent, trusted advisors. Lynchburg Nissan, nobody beats our prices. Nobody. Sentry Exteriors, experience and quality you can trust. Schedule a free estimate at sentryexteriors.com. And by Thompson Brooks Insurance, planning today for tomorrow.
The Hodges with 5 at the top of the arc. She dumps it inside to Smuda. Smuda scoops to the hoop and scores. Beautifully run offense by the Lady Flames.
Now let's talk Liberty Flames women's basketball. Here's your host, the voice of the Lady Flames, Jamie Hall.
Welcome into this week's Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show. We got a great program ahead for you. A little bit later on, we'll hear from head coach Carey Green. He'll give us a recap of how the games have gone the last couple of weeks and a look ahead to some pretty cool games that are ahead, including one against an SEC opponent. And right now, though, we've got Emmy Stout joining us. And Emmy, first of all, welcome to the program. And as a way of recap, because the last game involved you specifically, but previous to that, the last time that we had a program, we were heading out to the West Coast, and they were going to be playing, well, first to Baltimore and then out to the West Coast and then eventually back to Lynchburg. And since you guys have been back to Lynchburg, you've had 3 really good wins, but totally different types of wins. And I know you weren't kind of physically involved in the first 2, but you had a pretty good view of what was going on in those 2 games. And so before we get into Emmy Stout and who you are and where you're from and how you got here and all that fun stuff, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. You're going to be Coach Stout for just a second. So the first game you guys got back from that Thanksgiving week, you played Christopher Newport, and it was a high-scoring game. You scored 106 points. Everybody got involved offensively. Then, a few days later, North Carolina A&T comes into town, and it was like night and day. It was like salt and pepper, totally different. You only scored 56 points, but you won that game. And then we'll get a little more in depth with the Randolph game, which was another high-scoring game. You put up 109 points in that game, but you actually got to play in that game. We'll tell everybody the good and the bad of why that happened. But so as you're sitting on the bench for Christopher Newport and North Carolina A&T, how crazy was it of the differences in those 2 basketball games?
I mean, yeah, I think for Christopher Newport, we really were able to come out strong. I think that's like kind of the key thing for us. And we played with high intensity, and that's why I think we're able to score so much. Like, granted, Christopher Newport's a good team, but we were able to come out and play our game, and that really showed. And it's super exciting on the bench just to be able to cheer for all your teammates. We had great teamwork, great job passing the ball. So it was a really good game. And then I think with A&T, we struggled a little bit with keeping that intensity. Sometimes we can just not get as focused when our competition is not like when our competition is not as great. Like we played GCU, we were like those are high intensity games, but with A&T, it was good competition. But I think we just played down to their level, and I think that was a big struggle for us. But we're able to pull out the win. We're still able to play some good basketball. But I think the key is just having that high intensity throughout the whole game rather than having the ups and downs.
As someone, as a player in those 2 games, you were on the bench, or actually in street clothes on the bench, if I'm correct. Yes. Yeah. So what can you do? What can the players that aren't in the game do to kind of help that and to keep that level going, keep that energy level high?
One of the biggest things for us is just to be able to cheer for our teammates, and we have this thing called red. Like if we get 3 stops on defense in a row, we yell red really loudly, so it gets our team going, like, get this stop right here, and it kind of can bring the energy up. And like just like on offense, if someone makes a good play, we all just jump up screaming. I feel like all of that can just bring that like intensity that they need, or that like lifting up of their spirits. They can go back and play some really great defense.
Okay, so I probably put the cart in front of the horse, and we started talking X's and O's before we even really truly introduced you. But I did allude to the fact that there was kind of good news and bad news with your getting your first ever collegiate appearance against Randolph, which is the final of those 3 games. The 109 to 26 final score there. So another just offensive explosion for the Lady Flames. If we rewind back to that Grand Canyon game, that was where Caroline Shirey got hurt, and just one of the most upbeat individuals that you'll ever be around. Always, you talk about high energy. If you look up high energy in the dictionary, there's a picture of Caroline, and if there's anybody on the planet that you're rooting for, it's Caroline, and she's come through some injuries already in her life, and so, boy, it was just had to be devastating for the team to see Caroline get injured. So we'll start there. Caroline gets hurt out on the West Coast, and then as you're coming back and the evaluations are coming in as to what her status is, now we find out it's going to be season ending. I'm sure the team just had to be devastated.
Oh, we were all heartbroken, and the minute it happened, when we heard her scream and fall down the court, like it broke all of us, and I feel like it was hard for us to even finish the game on that one, just because we all love Caroline so much. She is like the heart of our team. Like, she brings the energy, whether she's in the game or on the bench. Like, she's just such an incredible teammate. So to see her go down the way she did, and then to be out for the rest of the season, like, it's truly heartbreaking. And again, it just kind of like changes things up in practice. But it was a really big upset for all of us.
And it seems like just as soon as you were kind of getting over that, and everybody was, Caroline herself was probably just starting to kind of deal with it, and the team was dealing with it, and then Emily Howard gets hurt in practice, and again a few days later you find out that that's going to be a season-ending injury as well. Before we get into the kind of the ramifications of all that, again, I mean, what was the locker room like when you found out that Emily was out too?
Again, it was just like another rough moment to see like something happen like that to your teammate. Like, no one ever feels like there's no ever joy about it, and it was like one after another. I feel like it just kept hitting our team. But I mean, we're all like such, our team is really close, and we're able just to, give like words of encouragement, like, whatever happens, like, God has a plan for all of us. It may not be what we want, but the Lord is in it. And so we're trying to like uplift our spirits. We're able to like recover back from it. The girls are really, they're even supportive, even though like they just got injured. Like, they're still like, hey, you got this, you can do this. So we just have a really great team that's able just to push each other and to encourage each other through these hard times.
As strange as this sounds, because you don't want anybody to get hurt, you certainly don't want 2 people to get hurt, but the fact that it happened the way that it did, they kind of have partners in crime as far as their recovery process. And I actually saw them earlier today, and they said, we're not happy that it happened, but the fact that we've got each other to kind of help ourselves through this is nice. Then the conversation turns from you're down 2 post players, and not that Elizabeth can't play the 5 if she needs to play the 5, and I'm sure someone else could step in and be very undersized but play the 5 if they need to. And you play some teams where they've got 5 guards pretty much out on the court anyway. But for the most part, you need to have a backup for Bella to rest her. How did that conversation go? At what point did you begin realizing that this may be a possibility that you would come out of your red shirt?
Honestly, it wasn't until, I guess, after practice that Emily got hurt. One of my coaches mentioned, like, hey, like, we got to be ready now. Like, we might have to give up a red shirt, maybe like either me or Ify or both of us. So that kind of like just started my mindset of like, oh, wow, like I might have to actually play now. And then Saturday we found out she was hurt after the game. Before the game they decided, like, let's wait and see what Emily's injury is. And when they found out it was her ACL, then they said, okay, let's talk on Sunday. We talked on Sunday, like, okay, like, we would really encourage, like, if you would give up your red shirt. And I said yes for that. And then we met again on Monday. There's a lot of different meetings, really great open communication. And Monday is where I finally decided, like, yes, I'll give it my redshirt year, and I'll be able to play alongside with the rest of my team.
How much of a roller coaster was that? Because I imagine that even coming out of high school, when the first conversation came up, and maybe this was even while you were being recruited, I'm not sure, you can tell me, of the thought of even redshirting at all, and then you go from probably, I don't know, you tell me, did you think, okay, I'm going to be playing, and then, then maybe it is a good idea to redshirt, to now I'm going to redshirt, and then it goes back the other way, and a few games into the season, I'm going to be playing after all. How did that go?
Honestly, in the summer, I didn't even think about it. And then when we started preseason, we all started school, I was like, you know what? We have two great posts in front of me. Maybe it'd be a good idea if I redshirt, because I just the thought came to me, I don't know why. And then so I went to my post coach, like, hey, what do you think about me redshirting since we have these great post players ahead of me? She thought it was a great idea. I went to Coach Green. He said yes. I was like, okay, I feel good about it. Of course, redshirting is always hard because, practices, you get a little more limited time than the girls, and obviously you don't play in the game. But I really took it as just a great experience just to work hard and learn this whole year. But again, my whole world changed. It was oh, now you don't have to redshirt, now you get to play. So it was definitely a roller coaster, but the Lord has helped me so much through it, and I just have to trust Him for His plan for my life.
Well, that's really cool. I don't know many stories that I've heard where it's the player that makes the suggestion. Usually it's the coaches that go, we know you really want to play this year, but it might be in your best interest to. So that's fascinating. I mean, I'm not trying to embarrass you, but that's some kind of senior level thinking that you don't usually have when freshmen first coming in, because usually it's I want to play. It's more about I'm not getting enough minutes than it is I think it's a good idea to sit out for a year. Well, like I said, we did kind of get a little bit ahead of ourselves. We're talking about a lot of specific things, but I think for the fans that maybe didn't quite understand, maybe they didn't know why your debut was a month into the season like that, or more than a month into the season, that kind of explains the reasoning behind it and the reasoning behind why you were redshirting to start. It is a deep team, and all the way around, whether it be guard or post, and so it kind of did make sense to have some red shirts, and you guys get an extra year of experience, but then circumstances kind of warranted and necessitated it, and then that leads to the Randolph game. So talk us through, so you find out on Sunday you're going to be playing, the game's on Wednesday, so you've got a couple of days of practice and preparation. And not that you weren't paying attention during scout and during video, but now it has a little bit of extra meaning of when they're going through the game plan. So talk us through those 2 or 3 days leading up to the game.
Yeah, it's definitely a different mindset. It's a quick switch when we do film and scout. Not that I didn't read through it before. I'd always breeze. So I was like, okay, they got these post players and these guards, but now I'm like, okay, this post player does this, that, and that. And so it was more of a focus for me than in practices. Again, I started playing with the second team now. And so it was just kind of a quick adjustment. But honestly, it was just it was fun to be able to get out there knowing I'd be able to play. So the intensity was really great. And the girls, we all really brought it. We had 2 great practices before the game and the shoot around. I was involved in the walkthrough, so it just got actually wow, this is I'm actually playing today. So it's really surreal for me, but it was also super exciting because I had great encouraging teammates that kept encouraging me. Can I do this, guys? Yes, you got this, Emmy. So it was really nice.
What about that first time that Coach Green came down the bench and said, "You're in"?
Oh, I think my heart stopped. I was really nervous. But I was so grateful. We had a media timeout, so I didn't have to go right away. So he was walking through, okay, let's do this play and that play. Okay, I got this. I was just kind of getting in the zone. And then as I was walking onto the court, I had a bunch of my teammates saying hey, Emmy, you got this. You're good to go. You can do this. And honestly, after that, I just felt so uplifted and encouraged. I felt like I could do anything. So. Can
you play back in your mind the first few possessions, or is it all a blur?
Honestly, it's all a blur in my mind. I felt like I was just shaking the whole time. When I had to do those, my first 2 free throws, I just felt oh my goodness, I feel like I'm going to airball this shot. I was just so nervous, but luckily I made those 2. But yeah.
And then the first field goal wasn't too far after that, maybe a couple possessions later. And any thoughts, any memories? Did you kind of take a peek up in the crowd as you were running back down the court to see your family?
Honestly, I wish I did, but when I get in the game, like no matter if like I score like the smallest shot or the biggest, like I just know like I need to go right back to defense. Like I'm too nervous to like kind of enjoy it. Like I just have that intensity of like I got to get back.
Well, it went really well for you. As a matter of fact, I'll read your stat line off. You played 26 minutes, so you actually, along with your high school teammate, Avery Mills, you guys had 26 minutes, and Brooke Moore had 26 minutes. You guys led the team in those categories. 10 of 14 from the field, 8 offensive and 8 defensive rebounds, so 16 rebounds, and you finished up with 23 points. 4 assists and 4 steals to go along with that. So I think that's something that is really fascinating about this Lady Flames basketball team is when you guys are playing well, the steals are cool, but I'm going to talk about the assists. When you guys are playing well, the post players can have an opportunity to get just as many assists as the guards get. So is that a fair statement, you think?
Oh, yes. I get really excited when all of our guards are shooting their threes and they're getting well. I'm like, okay, now I can like just shoot the past her knowing like she's going to go make that shot. Like it just brings like such confidence. And I love like being able to like swing the ball around because I feel like it just gets great movement and you get like even better open shots the more you do it. So I get really excited and I think it's fun for post players to be able to kick it back out to the guards and let the guards shoot too.
Well, I'm sure there was certainly no scout on you. I'm not sure if Randolph even knew you were going to be playing in that game. So now there is some film that's going to circulate, so some teams will know who you are next time you play. So you might see a double team or two here or there. So you might have to change your approach a little bit now that people know who you are as far as at the collegiate level. But had to be just an amazing first game to come out of the gates. I think you and I talked afterwards. If you'd have had 5 points and 5 rebounds and a couple of assists, and you'd have felt like, okay, that's not bad for a collegiate debut. I got my feet wet. Now let's get to work. But you set the bar pretty high. 23 points and 16 rebounds. That's some numbers that I think there's a lot of players that end up finishing college and never achieve those types of numbers at any point during their career. So you've got a pretty high bar to kind of go after. But I imagine you probably were on cloud 9 for at least 24 hours after the game, getting texts and messages from everybody that you knew, I would think.
Yeah, I got a bunch of old texts from my teammates, my past teammates when I played at LCA, and even some when I played at Maranatha. So it was just a really special moment. I give God all the glory. Like I was so nervous, and I was just like, Lord, you got to help me. Like I was so prepared to redshirt. I thought this was the plan you wanted for me, and then now He just completely switched it, and I was like, then you've got me because I can't do this alone. So. And I just, again, the great support I have from my teammates and my family and getting all those messages and just having that night it was really special for me.
And I think one of the most special parts of your debut game was looking down the bench and just seeing all the starters who got next to no minutes compared to what they're used to, 13, 14 minutes a game when they're used to playing close to 30 minutes a game. They didn't care how many points they had or how many rebounds they had or the fact that they weren't getting a lot of minutes. They were hyped up. And if you stole the ball, and let's say this, there was a time or two where you got a steal that it was just pretty much they threw you the ball,
yes,
which is okay.
100%.
You were where you needed to be. You were in position. But even though you were just standing there and Randolph threw you the ball, your teammates were still going nuts over on the sidelines. Anything you did, they were giving you a round of applause and a standing ovation. So that had to be pretty cool as well, because it'd be easy for a starter that's used to getting their own, to kind of be like, oh, I wish I was playing, but they weren't. They were fired up over on the sideline.
Yeah, again, like Emma Hess, Bella, Jordan, I look over all of them, they're just jumping up cheering, and I'm just like, there's no better feeling than knowing you have such a great supportive team. Like when I was on the bench and I was able to cheer for them, and now if they're on the bench and I was in the game, it's still the same. Like just having them that camaraderie is so nice.
Well, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some of the off-the-court stuff. And one of the off-the-court things, I guess it's kind of on the court, is you have a very familiar collegiate teammate because it was your high school teammate for a couple of years as well. And again, for those that maybe don't know the backstory, you guys won a state championship with LCA last year. And I know that had to be just an amazing experience. So we'll talk about that. But I'm curious about your trek to Liberty, to Lynchburg, because it's kind of a unique one as well. So we'll talk about that after this quick timeout here on the Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show.
What's important isn't that Freedom First has been in business since 1956. What's important is how we've been doing business since 1956. Since day one, we have been accountable to our members, not stockholders. We make loans that cost less, offer savings plans that pay more, and give back to our community, and that hasn't changed. What has changed is our ability to serve you with more locations and more technology to simplify your financial life. Freedom First. It's a place where anyone in our region can bank for good.
Black Friday savings have started early at Lynchburg Nissan. Enjoy up to $8,300 off MSRP on select 2024 models, or get 0% financing on 5 of our most popular models. These savings won't last long, and with inventory moving fast, now's the time to take advantage. Plus, trade in your car and receive up to 130% of fair KBB value. That's right, huge savings, 0% financing, and large trade-in values. Black Friday starts now. Head to Lynchburg Nissan today.
You're listening to the Liberty Women's Basketball Show, presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Today's show will continue after this 1-minute timeout on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.
Turn up the heat. Foster Fuels is a proud partner of Liberty Athletics. Fostering warm moments for 100 years, Foster has been providing exceptional propane and gas services throughout Central Virginia and surrounding areas. From propane to fireplaces and tank installs to tankless water heaters, Foster does it all. Visit fosterfuels.com or download the app to order fuel, pay your bill, and more. Get the customer service you deserve and turn up the heat with Foster Fuels and the Liberty Flames.
Earthright Mid-Atlantic, your trusted solar and energy efficiency experts. With a focus on honesty, education, and excellence, they light the way to savings, home comfort, and a greener future. Educating homeowners about the power of solar and energy efficiency is their winning game plan. Give Earthright Mid-Atlantic a call today at 434-200-9716 or visit erepower.com.
Welcome back into this week's Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show. We're joined by Emmy Stout, freshman center for the Lady Flames that had her season debut just the other night against Randolph and put up, as we mentioned before, some unbelievable numbers, 23 points, 16 rebounds. And when we were talking about the box score, one of the things that I'd said was that you got 26 minutes and Avery Mills got 26 minutes. And you guys played a lot of basketball together now it'll be 3 years, considering this year's included too. But you won the state championship at LCA. You played in the post. Avery, pretty much, she played point a lot, didn't she, in high school? Yeah. So she was the point guard. You were the 5, and you guys didn't lose a single basketball game last year. Tell me about that experience and what it was like cutting down the nets at the state championship.
It was awesome, truly. I mean, we didn't get much competition like in the district levels. We won district pretty easily, but then when it got to like regionals, we won regionals, like, okay, like we can make it to states now. And then states, we had some really good competition. And then in the championship, it was actually like we were down the entire game until the last 3 minutes. So it was just to pull that win out and to be able to celebrate with my team after having this hard-fought season of being undefeated. It was a great moment.
Do you remember exactly how the end of that game went down?
Yeah, we had one of our teammates, I think Sierra, she got a steal. And I can't remember, we scored the ball somehow, and I think Avery probably shot a 3, knowing her. She did probably shoot a 3, because it was in the last few minutes of the game, like she thought, like she shot a much needed 3 that got us up. And then they had the ball, and we were 4 points down, and so they needed to shoot a 3. So my coach was like, don't you dare even touch them. Don't foul. Let them do whatever they want. In the last second, they shot a 3 and made it, but we still won by 1 point.
Okay, so the final score, for those of us that weren't at the game, it was a 1-point game, but it wasn't quite as down to the wire. I mean, it was the final minutes, but they hit a three that just kind of made the score look closer than it was.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Because I wasn't sure, because I didn't get to see that game. And I just saw the final result, and I was like, I got a 1-point game. So I'm wondering, was it a buzzer beater? Was it a final defensive stand? But you guys kind of had a little bit of moment there where you could, just don't do anything stupid, and we're going to win the state championship. That's pretty cool. And Heather Stevens, who was your coach, used to coach the Lady Flames, was one of Coach Green's assistants for several years before she then went to coach. I don't want to say retired from college basketball, but she stepped away from college basketball and then won a state championship with you guys, which is really kind of cool to follow along. My sister went to LCA for a little while as well when she was younger, so definitely always have had a rooting interest. And Frank Rocco, great guy, and that whole athletic department is pretty cool. That whole school there's just a lot of great people over there. My little niece, who's 6 years old now, is in first grade at LCA. So it kind of all comes full circle. She'll be, well, I don't know if she's probably not going to be a basketball player, but she might be doing something here in about, I don't even want to think about it. It'll be here before I know it. I feel like I'm getting older as this conversation goes along. So you play your last 2 years of high school basketball at LCA. Previous to that, out west, tell us about that transition and what got you to Lynchburg and eventually to Liberty.
Yeah, I moved out to California, and I lived there for 7 years, and I played at Maranatha Christian School for 9th and 10th grade. And my parents honestly just wanted to get out of California, and Liberty's been my dream school since 7th grade. I've always wanted to go there just because I wanted to be taught by a biblical worldview. And so my parents were like, well, if you're going to go to Liberty and you're going to play there, let's just move to Lynchburg, Virginia.
There you go.
So it was a great idea, and we took the move here. It was a really hard transition at first, but it paid off being here, like close to Liberty, get to know the area. So it was really nice.
Now you said that you were in San Diego for 7 years previous to then 2 years, and if I'm doing the math right, that's 9 years, but you had a few more years somewhere in there. Where did you start out?
I was born in Maryland, in Gaithersburg, so I lived there 9 years, moved to California for my dad's job, and then moved back to Virginia for these last 2.
So what do you consider your hometown?
Maryland, probably because I spent the longest there, but a lot of my memories come from California, because that's just I felt like where I was raised there. It's like the youth that I remember.
And the weather probably pretty
the
nice.
Weather, yes, so nice.
I'm sure that nobody would have to twist your arm to go back and visit your friends in San Diego, and who knows, maybe you can talk Coach Green into getting some games out there at some point.
I tried. We played Cal Baptist, which is a California team, but unfortunately it was a home game for us. So.
You still got some time. So
yeah, we
you
just
you gotta. What you need to do is you need to really sweet talk, get some brownie points with Coach Green and Sarah Baruta, so that when they're putting the schedule together, they can go, oh, San Diego State has a tournament going on in November of whatever year that is. But it would be fun. I'm trying to remember if we've ever had a game in California. I'm not sure. We've come very close, Phoenix, Arizona, Las Vegas, and so on, but I might have to go back and think. Nothing's coming to me right off the top of my head as far as maybe women's basketball might not have ever been in the state of California. They played UCLA, but that was a neutral site.
Yeah.
And anyway, I don't know. Paul Carmody, if he's watching this right now, is probably going, no, you're wrong, because he knows. I don't know how well you've gotten to know Paul over your, the first few months of your freshman career, but Paul is very knowledgeable from the sports information side of things, and I'm sure if we played in California, he will correct me and say, no, back in 1984, they played against USC, and he'll know. He'll definitely know. What would be a dream, other than maybe going back to California? What would be a spot that you'd like to go to? What would be a place, if you got to make the schedule, you'd send the Lady Flames to?
Does it have to be in the United States?
Hey, there's tournaments in the Bahamas and Puerto Rico and Cancun. We've been to Cancun, Mexico. That was a spot we played in before.
Honestly, the Bahamas would sound very nice. I know the football team's going there right now, and be able to go a little early, go to the beach or something. I feel like that would be really fun. The one we've never gone to, or I've never been to this state ever, and it would be really cool. I don't know if they still run tournaments. They used to up in Alaska. They had the Great Alaska Shootout,
And that would be a cool spot
Yes,
to go to.
I would love that. That would be awesome.
Just the scenery, you know. If you go in January, you're not going to have a lot of daylight, and it's going to be cold and it's going to be miserable. But maybe, you know, early November might not be too bad. And I've heard people that take cruises up there, and they leave from Seattle and go up, and they say it's just gorgeous. You need to go kind of in the spring or the fall or the summer. You don't want to go in the middle of winter, but yeah, it seems like that would be a pretty cool place to, literally, pretty cool place to go to. So you're in San Diego. You make the decision that the family's moving to Lynchburg. You get to Lynchburg. Was the connection to Liberty already there? The recruiting process already started, or was that the first that Liberty was aware of Emmy Stout?
I think I was offered, I think the summer of my freshman year. So after I finished my freshman year, my sophomore year, when I was still in California, I was offered. So like the recruiting process was still there. I didn't verbally commit until I think I was actually moving in. It was the day I was moving into my house. I was calling Coach Green, and he was asking me. I was like, okay, Coach Green, like I want to verbally commit. And so that's kind of how it worked out. So
that helped that you already had, you kind of knew that you had a spot if you wanted it, and so that was cool. Probably helped the moving process, made you feel a little bit more comfortable coming to a place you'd never been before. How long did it take to do you feel like you're a Lynchburger? Do you feel pretty comfortable in the Hill City now, or are you still transitioning?
I kind of know the area. I want to say I'm not as comfortable. I feel like I'm getting to that point there. I'm not there yet, but like I'm getting to the point where like I know the name of the highways, which I struggled with at the beginning, and I know like the different areas. But yeah, I'm working towards it.
See, and as I say that, I don't even really know what that means, because if you think about, I know what it would mean if I said that to you about being a Californian or a, San Diegoite or whatever they call people from San Diego. It's like, do you feel like you've adjusted? Do you feel like you're at home? You're one of them now, and you go, yeah, I go surfing every other week, and I'm really laid back now, and nothing, everything just flies off of me. I'm pretty chill. That's what I think of when I think of California. I'm sure there's uptight people in California. But that's kind of the vibe that I get from somebody that lives in San Diego. So I don't know what the vibe is for someone in Lynchburg. It's a friendly town.
Very friendly.
I don't ever really run into too many people that I go, and if I do, they probably are transplants from up north or something. I didn't say that out loud. But yeah, is that kind of the vibe you get?
Most definitely. It's such a different culture here from California. Not that people are mean in California, but like coming here, everyone waves, everyone smiles at you, and they say hi. Like it just makes you feel like you're like really close to everyone around you.
You miss In-N-Out?
Oh, I miss In-N-Out so much. I miss all the food options, but In-N-Out mostly, like the cheap burgers and the fries. It's hard to place. You
pick up Cookout. Yeah. Which you don't have out there. I'm trying to think what else maybe we have around here that you don't have out there. I tell you what we need. We need a Culver's and we need a Freddy's burger, because those are kind of East Coast things that I think give In-N-Out a run for their money, but we don't have any here, which is probably good. I'd probably be 20 pounds heavier. I already need to lose weight. Now I'd really be in trouble if we had a Freddy's or Culver's here, because they've also got that frozen custard.
Oh,
it's
sounds good.
On another level. I mean, it is so good. Yeah, now that the more I say it, it's good that we don't have one around here, because I'd be in real trouble. Okay, so we talked about Avery and the fact that you guys were on the team for a couple of years. When you first met Avery, did you already know that she was interested in Liberty? I don't remember the exact timeline. Were you guys already committed when you met Avery?
I believe Avery was already committed. I think I committed either the day after I met her or the day before. I met her at the orientation for LCA. We took like a picture together, and I still have it. It looks so weird because I feel like I'm so young, but it was just like 2 years ago. But yeah, I think we were both relatively committed there too.
So you knew, here we go. We're going to play high school ball for a couple of years, and if everything goes right, we're going to be playing basketball for the next 6 years or maybe more. Did that make it even more fun to play with her in high school?
Yeah, I mean, like knowing like I have such a great teammate and a great basketball player, like I get to play with her 2 years in high school and then another 4 years possibly at Liberty. I was like, dang, like this is going to be great. We get the chemistry going, like just throughout these whole years, we just keep growing and developing. It'll be a really great team.
I'm always careful when I ask this question, because I don't want it to seem like I'm not considering the fact that you could play professional basketball for the next 20 years. So I always like to word it in this way. When basketball ends, and that could be once college is done, or it could be 15 years from now, who knows? What's next? What do you want to do professionally?
I would love to be a PA or physician's assistant in the ER. That's my dream goal right now.
In the ER?
Yeah.
So you want the high action stuff?
Yes. Yeah.
No kidding. I got a good friend of mine who was a general practitioner and then decided that he didn't like having to take his work home with him, because you don't think about that, but the doctors have to take the cases home and they've got to take the charts. And so he's like, I want to just be able to go to work, and when the day's done, my day's done. So he's now an emergency room doctor.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and you get some exciting things.
Yeah.
You never know when you're going to have some really bad situation come in and it's chaos for 2 hours, but then there's other times that it's kind of slow and there's not a lot going on. But okay, so what exactly is a physician? Say it again.
Physician's assistant.
Physician's assistant. So what is the day-to-day of a physician's assistant?
Well, it's basically they're above a doctor and they're below a doctor and above a nurse, so they can do things that doctors do, except doctors have more responsibility. So in ER, they can prescribe medicine, they can see patients. Like in pediatrics, you could see a PA or a doctor, but again, the doctor gets paid more because they have more responsibility and they have more paperwork and stuff. PAs can kind of have their own thing, but not have as much responsibility.
Okay, but you're still in the soup basically.
Yes.
If there's a major catastrophe, you're in it. Mm-hmm. Okay, well God bless you, because I don't think many people, just like my friend Chuck, not many people are going to sign up for that. Mm-hmm. So the fact that you're willing and interested in doing that, that's a servant's heart for sure. Okay, so that being said, what is the course study to get to that point? It eventually means medical school, right? Yeah,
so I'm studying right now biomedical science preclinical, and then after these 4 years I get to go 2 years into PA school, but it's all year round, so it's technically 3. But again, I chose that because doctors, so you have to go to 4 years med school and then 3 years residency, so it's a lot less schooling, and you're able to kind of learn exactly what a doctor does or exactly what they learn, and then just have just that less responsibility, which I guess makes a difference because you don't have that much schooling.
How tough is that going to be as your basketball career continues? I'm sure there's going to be some difficult classes that you're going to have to kind of juggle.
Yes, this semester is already a challenge already. It's just a lot of studying, a lot of work. But if you have a routine and you plan to do before practice, after practice, it makes it work. Tell us about your family. You mentioned the fact that your dad was his job was the reason that you moved out west. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about family, siblings, relatives. What got you motivated in basketball? Was it family related as well? Yeah, my mom honestly just put all my siblings. I have 3 siblings. 2 are one already graduated from Liberty University, my sister Sarah, and then my brother Justin, he's graduating this year for ROTC, the Air Force. And then Matthew, unfortunately, chose to go to Grand Canyon University. So he was there at the game, which was fun. But yeah, sorry, what was the question? I'm so sorry. No, just you're going in the right direction. Just a little bit about your family and upbringing. Yeah, my dad, his job moved us to California, and then when he came back here, he was able to retire. My mom started a small business here called Wow Supplies, where she sells toys that say Jesus loves you on it. All my siblings are super close in age, so we're like a pack together. We're all really close, but yeah, it's great. Everybody interested in sports like you? Well, they tried, unfortunately. Well, they didn't. They did in high school. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. I hope they don't watch that. I love the way you said that. That's pretty good. Matthew did try. He did 4 different sports in high school, but then it just decided it wasn't for him. And then Justin went to the ROTC route, so it's Air Force. And my sister, she went to school on a scholarship for being smart, so I didn't get that. So we all kind of had our different areas that we were good at, and I just stuck with basketball because I started in kindergarten. I was like, this is kind of fun. I might just continue playing it. So I continued to play it, and my siblings all played until middle school, then stopped in high school. So I don't know, just something I stuck with. So that means you probably dominated those backyard games when you would have them.
Yeah, because everybody else was just kind of,
Yeah, there's like, kind of,
and then
yeah.
you,
I took it seriously.
You took it pretty seriously. Yeah. Okay, last question for you. Outside of basketball, because I know so many times that when you're an athlete, you are completely defined by the game that you play, and that's the only thing people want to come up and talk about. And you're 6'3" as a female, that's way above average. So everybody that you run into, even if they don't know that you play basketball, is going to ask if you play basketball. Maybe every once in a while you get to you play volleyball.
Yep.
I guess that's part A to this question. Did you play any other sports yourself?
I actually played volleyball my senior year of high school, just randomly.
Okay, so you did play a little bit of volleyball. So you could answer yes to both of those questions. I can. Very good. But outside of the athletic side of your being, what are some other things that keep you entertained? What are some hobbies that you have? Some other things that define you?
I love to read. Reading's a really big thing, and I've also taken up a hobby in like shooting. Like I recently learned how to shoot a shotgun.
Oh wow!
I decided to do it one day, so I went to the rifle range.
Like skeet shooting?
Yeah, like skeet shooting. It was really nerve-wracking, but it's really fun. So yeah, it's kind of like a cool thing I like to do. And I love to bake. So like baking's fun too. I'm starting to get really good at it, I think. Well, humbly, I think I am. But yeah, and spending time with family is like always a big one.
Well, if you need anyone to back you up on whether you're good at it, I volunteer.
I'll definitely remember.
Yep, and I know that there's usually some events that go on throughout the course of the year that you get to kind of cook some things for your teammates.
And I'm ready to win. Yes.
You're ready to win?
I'm ready to win. My teammate at EFI, we're going to beat Avery Malia, 100%.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing the results of that. There was something that, as you were talking, something that kind of triggered in my head, and now it's completely left my brain right now. So we'll just kind of finish up that thought with your number. The number that you chose has some significance, and I want to ask you about that. And it's fortunate the timing of your career, because you wouldn't have been able to have your number until I think last year technically, but because of Nike jerseys, and I don't think they would have gotten it in time. They made the decision right before last season that they were going to start allowing numbers above 5, because previous to that, for all the years of college basketball, you had to have a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. You couldn't have 6, 7, 8, 9. You know why?
It's because like the reffing don't like to do the two hands or the numbers with it. Yeah.
It was all about being able to put anybody's number up with two hands. 5, 4, 3, 2, 0, 1, whatever, but they changed that. So now 17's in play. You chose 17, and why?
Well, 1 Timothy 1:17 is my favorite verse. All honor to God forever and ever. He's the eternal King. Amen. And I think that just kind of like, whenever I go out and play basketball, like I want to honor him in all that he does. So that number reminds me, like, whatever I do, I want to honor him because he is the eternal King. Like he is our Father, and our ultimate goal is to serve him. So
that is very cool. There's a lot of cool stories, and I need to do better at asking why everyone has picked their number.
Bella's, I think, is my favorite story.
Can you remind us Bella's story?
Proverbs 31 woman, and I was like, dang, Bella, that is so good. Like, so I think that's one of the best numbers. Yeah,
no question. And there's one other really good story. I'm sure there's many other stories, but I'll mention this one because it just pops into my head. Do you know why Jordan Hodges is 0?
I don't.
Because her coach said that's how many people can guard her. Isn't that awesome?
Oh, I love that. That's so good. Oh my! I have to talk to her about that. Wow.
Yep.
Oh, that's a solid.
That is solid, isn't it?
That's pretty good.
I think it was her AAU coach, if I remember right. But yep, that's how many people can guard you. 0.
I love that.
So, cool note to end on. Great start to your career. I know you weren't expecting to play this year, and the whole circumstances around it are unfortunate with the injuries, and hopefully those girls heal up quick and get back at it as soon as possible next year, and we see some great things out of them. But sometimes, out of a fire, there can be a little blossom, and you have been the blossom so far, and we hope that you have many more doubles ahead.
Hope so.
That was Emmy Stout, and we'll be back with head coach Carey Green on this week's Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show right after this.
At Carter Bank, we believe life is best lived full of opportunities and dreams, of goals achieved and promises kept. We've been creating opportunities for more people and businesses to prosper since 1974. That means great local lending, convenient access to your money, accounts and guidance that make it easier to get more done. We are Carter Bank, the preferred community bank of Liberty Flames Athletics. Visit carterbank.com to learn more. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Curious about the Central Virginia housing market? Carl Miller Realty are your caring, competent, trusted advisors for real estate sales in Central Virginia. With over 100 years of combined experience, they are committed to helping clients make informed housing decisions. For a winning game plan and to discover the value of your home, visit carlmillerrealty.com to make your next move a slam dunk.
You're listening to the Liberty Women's Basketball Show, presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Today's show will continue after this 1-minute timeout on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.
Thompson Brooks Insurance has been serving Virginia for over 40 years, helping individuals and businesses with their insurance and investment needs. The team at Thompson Brooks is experienced in understanding life and health insurance, Medicare, and retirement planning. Thompson Brooks Insurance can be reached at 434-385-8500 or online at thompsonbrooksinsurance.com. Thompson Brooks Insurance, planning today for tomorrow.
Century Exteriors offers exterior home renovations, including but not limited to gutters, roofing, siding, home additions, and much more. Century Exteriors makes the process seamless. Call 434-239-6722 for a free on-site estimate or visit centuryexteriors.com and Century Exteriors on Facebook and Instagram. Century Exteriors is a proud supporter of Liberty Flames Athletics.
Welcome back into this week's Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show. We're now joined by head coach Carey Green. Coach, it's a fun time of year, Christmas season and tournaments. It seems like there's a lot of basketball to watch. Of course, there's a lot of football left to watch too. So for a sports fan, it just doesn't really get a lot better than the month of December because you've got hockey and basketball and football finishing up. I guess the only thing you don't have is baseball if you're a baseball fan. How much non-Liberty game film are you watching? How many games do you usually catch in a week?
Well, Jamie, this is a time for family, food, and football playoffs. So not that I'm ignoring basketball and other sports, but I'm going to key in from a relaxing perspective. Eat till I go into a food coma and enjoy family and just try to walk away from the game of basketball personally and enjoy football games. And, it's a never a rest because we're going into tournament play in Cherokee, North Carolina. Our football team is playing. Next weekend, you have the college football playoffs, and then we come right back, and we've got Western Kentucky and Middle as we get into our own conference play. So it's an exciting period of time. The month of December, January, just a lot of excitement. Every day is a little different.
I guess the biggest question that the other husbands out there probably wondering right now, have you got all your Christmas shopping done?
No. My wife helps me a whole lot, and then I've got to take care of her. But no, never enough.
Are you an online guy, or do you still go to the stores?
I'm becoming more and more online because that's just the way it is. I still like to try the shoes on, try the shirt on, all of those things, but it's just more convenient, and that's the way education has become more convenient online, and you can maximize and manage your time a little bit better.
Well, when we look at the Lady Flames and what's been going on as far as the last couple of weeks, you've had you didn't finish off the trip out west the way that you would have wanted with the game against Grand Canyon, but since then, 3 straight wins, and you've been able to evaluate quite a few players. Everybody's gotten pretty much an equal amount of minutes all the way down the roster. Now, part of the reason that you've been able to evaluate at least one new player is because of some injuries that came along the way. So before we get into what's happened in those games. I guess for the fans that maybe haven't been keeping up and don't know exactly what's happened, you're down a couple of post players.
Yeah, Bella Samuda has been our impactful starting post, but Emily Howard has been right behind her, and right behind her is Caroline Shirey, and those are experienced at the 5 position, a power position, and unfortunately we've had 2 injuries that are actually ACL injuries, and that was with Emily and Caroline. Caroline's surgery is going to be January the 9th for those that want to lift her up in prayer, and Emily's is going to be December the 27th. And Caroline had her injury earlier, but her injury was a little more intensive in the bone structure. So she basically has a bone bruise that has to heal, that and some scarring down. She's just going to take her time because hers was a little more intense. Emily's was meniscus and ACL, but she'll be back and in surgery after Christmas on December 27th. And with that, it brings in, unfortunately, we had a luxury. Well, it was unfortunate. We had a luxury of having Emmy Stout and as a red shirt, and it was going to be the best for her future and her development and all. But now, she was very competitive. Don't get me wrong. Okay, it was just experience and maturity that made her the best candidate for red shirt. And well, in actuality, Caroline and Emily Howard had already went through a red shirt, so she was the next one. But with those 2 at that position, it leaves Bella, and we can't afford another injury. She needs rest time, and Emmy Stout came out of red shirt, and she came out on fire. Had a great game, double-double, and some record-breaking or record-tying or really experiences there in her first game. So we look forward to her. She's going to be, she is a good ball player, and she's going to certainly impact our program.
Yeah, I'll read her stat line off in that game against Randolph. She played 26 minutes, 10 of 14 from the field, 8 offensive rebounds, 8 defensive rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 steals. So a pretty all-around game, athletic game. We saw her stepping into some passing lanes and doing some pretty good things on defense as well as offense.
Right. She's a good athlete, and she's going to have an impact on our program, and we certainly need her now. We don't have the luxury of allowing her to develop and just understand the game more. So she's going to impact the game now, and yet she's a freshman. She's going to go through all those ups and downs sometimes. Hopefully that she won't, but it's a huge challenge to step up to D1. We just want consistency.
It's funny, when you look at the 3 games at home since that trip out west, all 3 wins, but certainly different types of wins. 106 points, 109 points in the bookends, and 56 points in the middle, but all 3 were victories. Christopher Newport, North Carolina A&T, and Randolph.
Yeah. A&T had beaten us last year. They're a good defensive team. They caused us some problems. We didn't shoot the ball very well. And they're a good team. They were picked to win their conference and won 21 games, I think, last year. Good competition. And we're going into some great competition in Cherokee, North Carolina, a tournament down there. We've got Arkansas, which, is an SEC team and a very explosive team, a team that I think averages about 74 points a game. They like to run the floor and shoot the threes and go outside in with theirs. So they're going to be challenging us.
The winner of that game will play the winner of Toledo and Troy. And we've kind of gone away in women's basketball of these actual tournaments where the winners and the losers play. It seems like most of these are set up as classics now, where you already know your 2 opponents, and it can be possible that there's 2 teams go undefeated on the weekend and so on. Do you like the old school approach of where the winners and the losers play?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, and that just means you got to be competitive every time out. So if you're in a winner's bracket, you're playing against a winner. If you're in a loser's bracket, you're searching for that win and trying to pick your team up. Now, the Classics is primarily evolved from everybody's looking for a win.
The home team.
Yes, everybody's looking for a win and trying to set it up that way.
Last thing for you, Coach, other than the obvious of winning these next 2 games before Christmas, what would you like to see from your team before you go into the break? Because you've got the 2 toughest bits of competition in the league when you come back and see USA and on the road playing at Western and Middle.
Well, I'd like to see more confidence. I'd like to see more unity and us play more aggressively. And I think a rebounded trophy would be pretty good. I'm always hung up on that. So we just got to be in a position that we continue to improve. And we're getting there. We had great practices this week and specifically today. A lot of energy. Just don't get in the dumps of riding a win or a loss and not stay in the process of grinding it out and getting better each day.
Coach, we appreciate your time.
All right, thank you.
That was head coach Carey Green. If you'd like more information on the Lady Flames, how you can get tickets to those home games once we get back from Christmas break, you can go to libertyflames.com. That's also where you can find all the links to follow along as the Lady Flames do travel down to Cherokee, North Carolina. It's not that far of a drive, actually. If you want to come on down, I'm sure you can get your tickets and still watch some. There's a lot of basketball that's going to be taking place down in Cherokee. It's a whole high school tournament as well, and then the college games finish up the night. Late games, it'll be a 9:30 start time for that matchup with Arkansas on Wednesday. Until we talk again, this is Jamie Hall saying so long and God bless.
You've been listening to the Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Radio Show with head coach Carey Green. Today's show has been presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Start banking with Freedom First today. The Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show has also been brought to you by Carter Bank. Life lived full. Earthright Mid-Atlantic, your trusted solar and energy efficiency experts. By Foster Fuels, providing reliable service for 100 years. Freedom Heating and Air, serving those who serve us. Carl Miller Realty, caring, competent, trusted advisors. Lynchburg Nissan, nobody beats our prices. Nobody. Century Exteriors, experience and quality you can trust. Schedule a free estimate at centuryexteriors.com. And by Thompson Brooks Insurance, planning today for tomorrow. Liberty Flames Basketball is an exclusive presentation of the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.